My mother showed up at my door with a list, not an apology, a list. Blue ink, handwritten, 5 bullet points, each one with a dollar sign. Total, $925,000. She did not say she was sorry. She did not ask about the grandchild she had never met. She said, "We need to talk about the family's future." What she did not know, what she had not known for 9 years, was that I had a list of my own, 29 items, every birthday card she returned, every voicemail she ignored, every screenshot of what my brother typed behind my back, all of it labeled, all of it dated, all of it filed in a navy blue binder in the bottom drawer of my desk, behind the tax folders and the old insurance documents, in a spot I had not opened in months because I'd stopped needing to look at it to know what was in it. She brought a list of what she wanted. I brought a list of what she did. My name is Julian Marsh, 38 years old. I grew up in Millfield, Indiana, a small town with one stoplight, one diner, one Baptist church, and a hardware store that had been run by the same family for 60 years. Population somewhere under 3,000, depending on the year and who was counting. My father, Dennis, worked construction for 30 years. Same crew, same site. Boots worn down at the heel in the same place every pair. My mother, Patricia, kept the household and the church committee calendar with the authority of someone who believed that organizational precision was next to godliness. My brother Craig was 3 years younger, loud, liked by everyone, the kind of man whose flaws were always described as personality and never held against him the way quiet men's flaws are. I was the quiet one, the one who did what he was told, who got good grades and didn't make noise about it, who left for Purdue on a partial scholarship and came back for holidays until the holiday when I didn't come back at all. I met Simone Carter in a statistics course in the spring semester of my junior year at Purdue. She sat 2 rows ahead of me and solved problems with the calm efficiency of someone who found the hard ones easier than most people found the easy ones. Data analytics major, minor in computer science, partial scholarship from Indianapolis. Her mother, Diane, was a retired school counselor who had raised Simone alone after her father left when Simone was 6. Diane worked long hours and never complained about any of it to anyone except Simone on very rare occasions, and even then only briefly. Simone was black, brilliant, patient in a way I had never encountered in a person. Not the passive kind of patience, but the kind that comes from having thought things through far enough ahead that the present moment rarely surprised her. She laughed easily. She was direct without being harsh. She saw problems the way engineers see structures, as things with solutions if you applied the right method. Our first date was coffee near campus. She paid. I tried to pay. She said she'd pay because she had picked the place, and the principal was the person who chooses absorbs the cost. I told her that was logical. She told me she was always logical. That part turned out to be entirely true. We dated 3 years. She met my parents twice. The first time, my mother called her Jennifer at the dinner table and did not correct herself when Simone gently said her name was Simone. My father shook her hand, said, "Nice to meet you," and directed the remainder of his conversation to me. My brother Craig wasn't there the first time. The second time he was. He spent the evening making conversation with me about sports, while Simone sat beside me and my mother served coffee she hadn't made strong enough. I told myself they needed time. Small town. They just needed time. My brother Craig was the honest one, which I mean in the worst possible sense. The kind of honest that is really just cruelty with better packaging. At Thanksgiving, he leaned over during dishes and said, "You know how this ends, right? You know they're never going to be okay with this." I told him he was wrong. He wasn't. I proposed to Simone on a Wednesday. Not a ring first, just a conversation at our kitchen table in the apartment we had been sharing for a year, over bad coffee and a lease renewal form we'd been putting off signing. "I want to build something with you," I said. "I've been thinking about it for a year and I keep getting the same answer. Will you marry me?" She said yes before I finished the sentence. I called home that night. My mother picked up on the second ring. I told her. The line went quiet for 8 seconds. I counted. "You need to think very carefully about what this means for this family, Julian. Not congratulations. Not when's the date." A warning delivered in the flat tone of a woman who had already made up her mind and was giving me a final chance to make the right one. My father got on the extension. He cleared his throat. He said nothing. He stayed on the line for 30 seconds and then quietly hung up. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. My mother's handwriting on cream-colored stationery. 3 paragraphs. The last one said, "If you go through with this, you are choosing her over your family. We will not attend. We will not support this. And if you walk down that aisle, do not expect to walk back through our door. She is not one of us, Julian. She never will be." I read it 3 times. I folded it. I put it in a folder. Something in me, the part that keeps receipts and labels bank statements, told me to hold on to it. I held on. We got married at the Travis County Courthouse in Austin, Texas, on a Saturday in June. 11 guests, all friends, all Simone's side. Diane flew in from Indianapolis with a garment bag and a Tupperware container of peach cobbler. She put her hands on both sides of my face and said, "Welcome to the family, baby." She meant it with everything she had. My dress shirt was from a thrift shop on South Congress. Simone wore a navy dress she'd bought the week before. We pushed tables together at a Thai restaurant on East 6th Street afterward, and Simone's college roommate gave a toast that made Diane laugh so hard she spilled water twice. We looked like 2 people who had just done the most important thing of their lives on a budget, because we had. That night in our apartment, I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the grocery store flowers on the dresser. $9. And my hands were shaking, not from doubt, from a grief that had no clean name. I had just married the best person I had ever known, and the 2 people who raised me did not care enough to be there. 1 week later, I mailed a card to Millfield. Inside our wedding photo, the 2 of us on the courthouse steps in the June sun, I wrote, "We are happy. I hope you can be happy for us someday." The card came back 11 days later. Red stamp. Return to sender. I stared at that stamp for a long time. Then I opened the folder, took out the letter, put the card inside, and wrote in red pen on the cover, "Item 1, Wedding Photo. Mailed June 14, 2016. Returned June 25, 2016. That was the beginning of the binder. I didn't know it yet, but I'd be adding to it for 9 years. And by the time my mother showed up at my door, it would be 29 items thick and I would be ready. Year 1 was the hardest. I called my mother 4 times. Voicemail every time. Cards came back with the same red stamp. My father sent one text in February, 4 words, "Your mother needs time." I filed everything. Same process. Print, label, date, red pen, tab. By year 2, Simone had quit her analyst job to build Clarity Health Analytics, a compliance and patient outcomes platform for mid-size hospitals that couldn't afford a dedicated data team. She built it from a desk in our second bedroom with 2 monitors and an $8 whiteboard. I handled operations, filings, vendor contracts. She built the engine. I kept the wheels on. We launched with 3 clients and a server that crashed twice on Tuesday. Our son Caleb was born in March of year 3. Diane flew in from Indianapolis the next morning and stayed 2 weeks. She rocked him at 3:00 a.m. She taught him the names of the balcony plants while he slept in her arms. That was what a grandparent looked like. Birth announcements to my parents came back unopened. Red stamp, items 14 and 15. Craig texted a mutual friend from high school. He chose that life. The kid doesn't have real grandparents on the Marsh side. That's his problem. Forwarded to me, printed, filed. Item 16, red pen, dated. By year 4, Clarity Health had 11 employees. Simone was building fast. I joined full-time as COO. We were partners in everything, our names both on the paperwork, both on the decisions. The binder had 19 items. I kept it in the bottom drawer and mostly forgot it existed. Simone asked me once why I kept it. Because someday Caleb might ask why he doesn't have grandparents on my side, I said. I want him to have the facts, not my version. The receipts. She nodded. That was Simone. She accepted what was mine to carry and stood beside me while I carried it. Year 7, Clarity Health closed a Series B $12 million. Post-money valuation, $68 million. Simone and I held 22%. 2 weeks after the TechCrunch piece ran, a friend from high school texted, "Your mom asked about your wife's company at the diner, asked what Series B meant." 9 years of silence. She didn't know what Series B meant, but she wanted to. That same year, I mailed my last birthday card to my parents and tucked inside it a photo of Caleb at his school fall festival. Red flannel face paint, missing his 2 front teeth. On the back, "He asks about you sometimes. I tell him you live far away." It came back in 9 days, but the envelope had been opened. The flap was creased, the glue resealed with a strip of clear tape. Someone had taken out the photo, looked at his face, held it, then put it back and returned it. My father, I was almost certain. He wanted to keep it, she wouldn't let him. Item 23. Birthday card, year 7. Opened and resealed, photo viewed, still returned. The group chat came in year 8. A friend named Renee was accidentally added to a family group chat and took screenshots before they removed her. 7 pages. She sent them all. Craig, his wife's company valued at $68 million last round. If they IPO, we're looking at $300 million minimum. Patricia, how do we approach this? Craig, make a list. Layer it. Make it look like family investment, not a request. Patricia, she has more money than this entire town. Julian can afford to help his family. Dennis, this doesn't feel right. Dennis did not type again. I sat in the parking lot of Caleb's soccer practice and read all of it. My hands were shaking, not from sadness, from clarity. 9 years of silence, 9 years of returned cards and a grandson they had never held. And now that the numbers had changed, they wanted to approach with a plan. I drove home, printed, filed. Item 26, family group chat, coordinated approach confirmed. Clarity Health went public that October on the NASDAQ. Simone and I held 10%. Net worth on paper, $44 million. I didn't know what to do with that number. It felt like a spreadsheet cell someone had typed wrong. Too many zeros. But the zeros were right. That was literally my job. My mother's text arrived 2 days after we got home from New York. 61 words, carefully drafted. Not one of them was sorry. Not one acknowledged the returned envelopes, the ignored grandchild. The letter that said, "She is not one of us." She wrote, "The differences that divide us," as if this was a philosophical disagreement rather than 9 years of documented racism. I screenshotted it, printed it. Item 29. First contact from Patricia Marsh in 9 years. 61 words, 0 apology. Red pen. Dated. My friend from Indiana, Renee, called the following Friday. She's flying to Austin next week. Craig helped her book it. I know, I said. What are you going to do? Open the door. I didn't know yet exactly what her face was going to do when I set that binder on the table beside her list, but I had 29 items and 9 years of patience. I was ready. She arrived on a Tuesday morning at 10:14. I know the time because I was standing at the kitchen window drying a mug when the taxi pulled up. She got out slowly. Beige cardigan, dark slacks, pearl earrings she wore to church every Sunday since I was 8 years old. A carry-on suitcase, small and worn at the corners. She stood on the sidewalk for 30 seconds before she came up the path. I watched her take in the house, the craftsman details, the porch swing, the garden beds. She was appraising. That was the right word for it. The doorbell rang. I opened the door. We stood 3 feet apart. She looked older, more gray, more lines around the mouth. The particular tiredness of someone who has been carrying something heavy for a long time and chosen not to put it down. Julian. Mom. 4 seconds of silence. I came to talk about the family's future. Not I missed you. Not I was wrong. Not even I came because I love you. I came to talk about the family's future. The family that had returned her grandson's photo in a sealed envelope. I stepped back. Come in. Not the living room, the kitchen, with the good light and the fridge covered in Caleb's drawings and Diane's photo from the beach. Grammy Diane holding Caleb on her lap. All three of them squinting into the sun and laughing. She sat at the table. I poured water. No coffee. Coffee was for people who were staying. Her eyes found Diane's photo on the fridge. She stared at it for 5 seconds. Something moved across her face. Guilt maybe, or jealousy, probably both. She unfolded the paper. 5 bullet points. Blue ink, her handwriting. Retirement fund, $500,000. College for Craig's kids, $200,000. Dennis's niece surgery, $45,000. Mortgage payoff, $180,000. Monthly support, $3,000. She read each line aloud in the measured tone of a woman who had rehearsed this as a business presentation. Then she placed the paper on the table. This is what families do, Julian. Your father worked his whole life. It's time to give back. $925,000. Not $1 for a woman she'd never met. Not one question about the grandson whose photo she'd sent back in a resealed envelope. An invoice, that's what it was. I looked at the list for a moment. Then I stood up, walked to my office and pulled out the binder. Navy blue, 3-ring, heavy with 9 years. I carried it back and set it on the table beside her list. 2 documents side by side. Her list, 1 page, 5 bullets, $925,000. My list, 29 items, 9 years, 0 apologies received. What is that? You brought a list, Mom. I brought one too. I opened to tab 1 and started reading, not with anger, not with performance, the way I read quarterly reports to Simone's board. Item 1. Wedding photo mailed June 14, 2016. Returned June 25, 2016. I placed the envelope on the table, red stamp facing up. Item 2. Birthday card, September 2016. Returned October 2016. Another envelope, same stamp. Item 3. Christmas card, December 2016. Returned December 2016. I laid them out one by one, white rectangles with red stamps. Every door I had tried to open, returned to sender. My mother's mouth opened, closed, I kept going. Voicemail transcripts, call logs, the screenshot of Craig's text about Caleb. He doesn't have real grandparents on the Marsh side. The group chat where Patricia said she has more money than this entire town. She flinched at Craig's text. She went rigid at the group chat. You had no right to read that. You had no right to return my son's photo. The kitchen went silent. I reached for item 23. The envelope with the creased flap and the clear tape resealed across the top. I held it up. This is Caleb at his school fall festival. I mailed it inside a birthday card. It came back in 9 days, but someone had opened it, looked at his face, then put it back and sealed it. She was staring at the tape. Her jaw was tight. Dad opened it. He wanted to keep it. You made him send it back. Her hands went flat on the table. If I let him keep it, if I let any of it in, I would have had to admit I was wrong. That I lost 9 years for nothing. She stopped, swallowed. For 1 second I saw something real in her face, actual fear. The kind that lives under anger long enough it forgets how to come out any other way. Then it was gone. Chin up, posture straight. But you chose her over this family. I placed her list on the left side of the table, binder on the right. Your list, $925,000, no apology. I tapped the binder. My list, 29 items. 9 years of returned cards. 9 years of a grandson you looked at and put back in an envelope. I did not erase. You wrote it. Mom, she is not one of us. I have the original. She had nothing left for that. You didn't come here because you missed me, I said. You came here because the numbers changed. She stood up. Chair scraped the tile. After everything we gave you, you raised me. That's not a debt. That's what parents do. The garage door rumbled. Simone walked in. Laptop bag, keys, same flannel shirt worn to the office. She saw my mother. She saw the binder. She saw me. She didn't speak. She set her bag on the counter, walked to where I was sitting, put her hand on my shoulder and sat down beside me. That was all. No words, no confrontation. Just a woman sitting next to her husband because he needed her there. My mother looked at Simone, the woman she'd told me to abandon, now a founder who'd just taken a company public at $440 million, wearing a flannel shirt with her keys still in her hand. Nothing flashy, nothing announcing $44 million. Just a woman, a good woman, a mother. And she was right here. My mother stared at Simone's hand on my shoulder, at the space between us that held no tension and needed no explanation. She understood. I had not needed the Marsh family. I had already built my own. Mom, I kept my voice quiet. I'm not going to give you money, not because I can't afford it, because the moment I do, you'll tell yourself you were right to stay away until it was worth coming back. You'll call the 9 years a rough patch. I picked up her list and held it out. They weren't a rough patch, they were a choice, your choice, every returned card. Every photo of your grandson you looked at and sent back. If you want to know Caleb, really know him not as a line item that starts with an apology. Not to me, to him, and not today. When you're ready to mean it. She took the list, picked up her suitcase, walked to the front door, stopped, opened her mouth, closed it, walked out. The door clicked shut, not a slam. The sound of someone who knew she had lost something she couldn't buy back. 2 weeks passed. Simone and I didn't discuss it much. She had come with a list. I had shown her a binder. She had left without apologizing. The math was settled. Caleb didn't know she had come. He was at school both times, arrival and departure. I wanted it that way. He would learn about Patricia Marsh when he was old enough to understand that some people only see you when the light is right. My father called on a Tuesday morning. 9:14. His voice was older. Measured, the voice of a man choosing words carefully because he has finally decided to spend them honestly. Julian, I saw the news, you and Simone. A pause. I should have opened that door 9 years ago. I should have picked up the phone. I should have driven to Austin the day Caleb was born. I should have done a lot of things. His voice cracked. I'm sorry, not because of the money. I don't want money. I want to know my grandson, and I want to know if you'll let me try. I was quiet for 17 seconds. I counted. I believe you, Dad. But believing you and trusting you are different things. We start slow. Phone calls every 2 weeks. No visits yet, just talking. That's more than I deserve. It's exactly what you deserve. Not more, not less. We hung up. I went back to the contract on my desk. Craig texted once. You could have just helped. I didn't reply. Some messages are their own answer. Patricia did not call, did not text, did not write. The silence returned, but this time it was hers. I had said everything I needed to say. The next move belonged to her. The binder sat in the bottom drawer, 29 items, 9 years. I did not add a 30th. I hoped I would never have to. Here is what 9 years of silence taught me. Family is not the people who share your last name. Family is not the people who call when your company goes public. Family is the people who show up when the world is small and the apartment is cold, and your son needs someone to teach him things. Diane Carter flew from Indianapolis every 6 weeks without being asked, without expecting anything. For 9 years, she taught Caleb the names of every plant on the balcony. She crocheted him a blanket. She taught him how to make grilled cheese on a Sunday afternoon, with the focused patience of a woman who understood that the small things are the things that last. That is family. That is what showing up looks like, and it has nothing to do with a last name. My mother showed up at my door with a list of demands and a suitcase. She did not stay. She did not apologize. She did not ask about the boy whose photo she had opened and resealed and returned. What she left behind, without meaning to, was confirmation of something I had known for a long time. The binder was right. Every item, every date, every red pen label. The record does not lie, and I did not need her to admit it. The record admitted it for her. Caleb asked me last week why we don't see Grandma and Grandpa Marsh. I told him what I always tell him. They live far away. He thought about it. Is it because of Mom? I looked at him. 7 years old, missing his front teeth, his mother's eyes. No, I said. It's because of a choice they made. Not about you, not about Mom. A choice they made about themselves. He accepted that with the clear, uncomplicated logic of a child who has never been taught to see what his mother is. Diane was in the kitchen. I could hear her humming something low and unhurried while she washed the lunch dishes. My son has a grandmother who shows up. That was always enough. That was always more than enough.